Yes, we are live. Welcome back, my dear friends. Welcome to another amazing episode of Zero Point Healing Show. This is episode number 37, and in this show, we are going to discuss about healing trauma, PTSD, and aligning with your soul purpose. And I have an interesting new modality that we are going to dive into in this show, which is called the Infinite Love Healing. And I have with me Adam, I should say the creator of Infinite Love Healing. And let's see what gifts and what magic and miracles can infinite love healing can do in our lives, and how it can help us overcome trauma and PTSD specifically in aligning with our soul purpose. So that's a lot of it for us to discuss. Before I go to Adam, I am Vishnupriya. I'm a healer myself, certified in multiple different modalities, and I have a special connection with Adam. He was a teacher trainee while I was learning my soul plant reading. So I know him personally as a teacher. So it's an honor for me to have him in the show today. Before I go on to him, just one other sentence. The Zero Point Healing platform. It's a platform where I'm bringing together healers and therapists and facilitators who are transforming this world. And my vision and goal with it is to create a platform where people can come in and search and find healers and therapists who can help them at different times in our lives. So with my own personal journey, what I found was different healing modalities, different healers helped me at different steps in my life. And for me, it would have been much easier in my journey if I have had this kind of a platform a few years back, while I was in that kind of journey of searching for modalities and healers. So that's the gift that I am providing to the world with this kind of platform. And I feel this is also a gift for the healers and therapists, where they can come in and show themselves, especially in this interview show. Again, my vision and goal with this is allowing the healers and therapists to show their power, to show their magic that they are creating in the world, to share their wisdom with the world. So that is what this is all about. So if you are a healer or therapist or facilitator yourself, I welcome you to zeropointhealing.com. You can register for free. And if you're interested in doing this kind of an interview with me, you're most welcome. Just please contact me. All right. With that being said, I am moving on to Adam here. Welcome, Adam. Thank you so much for coming to my show. It's absolute honor. Especially, I think this is one of my first interviews where I'm actually interviewing someone I know. Until now, it has been totally new people. So it's an honor. So let's get started. Tell us about you a little bit, and how in the world you found all of these healing modalities, and how did you enter into this healing world?
Well, thank you for having me on your show, Vishnupriya. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I got really into spirituality and energy healing back around 2012. I was kind of dipping my toes in the water before that in 2010, 2011. And then in 2012, I was quite sick with a chronic health issue. Turned out to be a mold and systemic mold infection. I did that at the time. I just knew I felt really crappy all the time. And I wanted to, so I went to the Amazon jungle with the intention to get better or die trying. And that was a quote that I used at the time. And you have to be careful what you ask for. I got a little bit of both. And ended up going to the Amazon jungle, taking a lot of substances there, mostly ayahuasca, and for a month straight, and had a full range of experiences, from experiences of infinite love and bliss, and this actually kind of was the inspiration for the name Infinite Love Healing, and also some very, very difficult and experiences in darkness. So I experienced both sides. I went to the jungle at my absolute low point in my life. I was kind of swan diving from my early 20s, and that was sort of at the low point. So it wasn't necessarily the best time in some ways to kind of just, oh, let's just go and do tons and tons of ayahuasca and expect it to be an easy ride, so to speak. So it wasn't, and but it did give me a lot of insights. Anyhow, I ended up going back after that trip to the US, and I didn't get, even though I had a lot of insights, I was not integrated, and I was quite traumatized. I had PTSD. I was also very sick. I was in the emergency room. At one point, my eyesight went out temporarily in my left eye for a very short time at this point. And I had this fear that I was going to die in 2012. So I kind of got thrown into the from like this very Western lifestyle that to this lifestyle of just needing to find a way to regain my health and to regain my life. And I was awakened to the fact of the spiritual reality in a way that I really hadn't been before. So I started to work with a healer. She was in like an incarnated angel for me, Lorraine Stern. She'd be a great one to have on the show, by the way. And she kind of pointed me toward different healing modalities. I started to do all sorts of different things, ranging from Reiki to IET, Access Consciousness. I know you had someone on there from that. A book called The Healing Code was very instrumental for me at the beginning. And Infinite Love Healing actually emerged about a year into this kind of quest to heal myself. When I had done a lot of stuff, a lot of sessions with Lorraine and other healers, I appreciated what you said about your own path, having taken a lot from different healers, because I've done the same thing. Although I've had certain healers which I've worked with for like more intensively than others for just kind of little bits here and there. But yeah, at the beginning, lots and lots of work with Lorraine, and it was all helping. It was all helping. There was nothing I did that I ever felt, oh, that was just a total waste of my time or money. Or like everything was helping, but it was like making it more and more copable. The stress I was feeling, because I had huge amounts of stress in my system. Yeah, I can only get so far into it, but yeah, I basically at times I could barely get out of bed, and so this was very, very. When I was driving to my grandma's house, actually, I had this insight of a different way I could do access consciousness, which is what I was at the time quite obsessed over, and it was sort of the best way to describe it. So this is a kind of very rough analogy, but it's like if you're like seeing a mansion from outside and you open the door, then all of a sudden there's 20 other doors inside the mansion that you couldn't see from outside, right? You can only see the one door. So it was like this one insight was given to me just by grace of a different way I could do access. And then once that was given to me, then I just kind of started to have all these other insights about way I could work with what I was already given. And the first thing that happened that made me realize, oh, I'm onto something like good, is that I did a self-healing session actually on trauma, on specifically the PTSD. I was never diagnosed officially with PTSD, but I was constantly in fight or flight mode. So I think that I was, and according to Lorraine, I was almost definitely had PTSD. So I'm saying that unofficial, but almost definitely PTSD. And so when I did a self-healing session, in about 1 hour session, it just was all of a sudden completely gone. Like that I could all of a sudden think about what had happened, and it wasn't like there was this feeling in my stomach still, which before it was there, but it had just been more remarkable. It was just not there. And for the first time, I felt like I could actually relax, and I don't know how long, but maybe since I was a kid, but really, certainly, it's definitely since my whole spiritual journey started, because my spiritual awakening was quite intense. So this was a huge sign for me. And then I started to do exchanges with access consciousness healers, and they were all very, very supportive of what I was doing. One of them even adopted my technique, started healing sessions. I was not a professional healer at this point. I was just like a guy trying to basically heal myself, but I was pretty bold and say, hey, I have this new technique. Why don't you guys let me exchange with you? And they all took me up on it, or at least three of them did. And so then that gave me confidence to start to experiment more and more with it, and more ideas came. And I started to give some healing sessions to other people that I knew in like kind of the Maryland, DC area where I was at the time. And in 2014, the next year after that, I just kind of felt guided to break it off from Access, because it was somewhat like Access, but it had evolved kind of. I'm always grateful for what Access gave, but it kind of had evolved away from some of the talking points of Access, and I was working quite differently. So it didn't make sense for me to keep on staying within that system. So it naturally evolved into what today I'm calling Infinite Love Healing. And yeah.
I'm on mute. That's a beautiful journey where, wow, and I love the way how you discovered and kind of moved and changed and evolved that kind of modality. I think that's usually the process of how a modality is usually created. It's not one magic
Right.
book suddenly, falling down from the heaven. So tell us
Right.
now
And
about.
it tends to be at peace, right? So, because I had no intention at all to found anything, it just kind of naturally happened out of my own need, and then it kept evolving actually after that. But I went to India for 2 years, where you're from, and studied some yoga nidra and studied breath work, and all this later on got incorporated into Infinite Love Healing. But it was like a very slow, step by step process.
That's so beautiful. So now tell us about a structure of an infinite love healing session, and tell us more about how it helps someone overcome their trauma and PTSD. I see you already touched base on it, but tell us more detail about what happens in a session when a client comes to you.
Yeah. So in the self-healing, I mean, I'm teaching two different things. So in a one-on-one session, or sometimes healing, which I don't do so much online, but I'll do here wherever I'm based, at this time in Guatemala. Um, then what we will do is it's closer to something like yoga nidra for the person receiving, where they're lying down. There might be a little bit of breath work at the beginning, and then I take them into a guided meditative space, very much like yoga nidra. And from there, the idea is actually for just have the person tune into my voice, and it's a little bit tough to describe even if I have all the time in the world, it's tough to describe without receiving it. But it's, in a short interview format, it's even a little tougher. But the way I describe it as something like akin to getting results from like advanced hypnosis, where without having to take a pendulum out or anything like that. But what's happening is similar to Access Consciousness. I use a querying statement. And the querying statement, I describe it like a URL address, right? So it's like you type in Google, or Google's not the best example because there's not much there when you type it in, but you type in anything, right? So you type in Facebook, and all this info pops up when you're on the website from just a simple word. So it's sort of the same with the querying statement. There's encoded information, and that what the encoded information is with Infinite Love Healing is it's basically working to jump to a different quantum possibility, because it's basically saying that we're recreating our reality constantly. There's infinite quantum possibilities, and it's retraining your mind, because the subconscious mind tends to get very fixated on very particular realities or very specific things that happen to keep us safe. But the amazing thing about the subconscious, it also has vast capabilities. So if we can open up the lens, we can reattune and train the mind on how to let go of whatever we want to. So I describe it a little bit like a magic wand, right? You just kind of point it, and whatever you point it at, you start to transmute it. So I call it a magic wand clearing statement. And this clearing statement, I started with accesses, and then I added or I changed a bit based on the initial insight I was given. And unlike access, which focuses more with subconscious beliefs with the clearing statement, I actually incorporate a lot of stuff to work, although they do some of this, but in a very different way than I do, to work on very much just focus straight on being able to focus on traumas or energetic connections or anything I want, basically, and using the clearing statement to help move that energy. And because the clearing statement is able to communicate bypassing the conscious mind, the person might not have any idea what's going on, and it still will work. And I also, like during a healing session, I'll normally say focus on what I call like the highest priority negative cellular memories or traumas. And what that basically is whatever's causing the person the most stress, the most dysfunction in their life, right? And the amazing thing about what I found is that even if sometimes the person might know what that is, sometimes they might not. Sometimes I might get insights into what that is. Sometimes it might have many, many links into stuff not even in this lifetime and past lives. But the beautiful thing is that no one actually needs to consciously know exactly what it is from my experience. You don't have to like relive it and go to psychotherapy for 10 years and say, oh, well, what happened? How does that make you feel? If you actually use the power of the subconscious mind, because the subconscious is like millions of times more vast than the conscious mind, the subconscious knows everything already. So all you have to do is just be able to communicate with it directly and flip how the subconscious is holding itself, and it can completely change your reality like this, you know? And yeah, so I've seen it just by doing this, by basically instructing the mind, hey, this is what we want to focus on. This is how just all you need to do is just relax, let yourself, don't try to do too much, and set your intention on what you want exactly in your life. Because the clearer your intention is, the easier it is. The system works with your intention. So, so you have a clear intention, you have trauma or whatever we're doing. So if you have PTSD, now the length of time it takes, it depends, and it depends on what it is. Like if it's a shorter something, my experience is that is if it happened more recently, or it happened less frequently, it's easier to heal very quickly. Whereas if it's something that happened longer ago and many, many times, it tends to take longer for the whole process to kind of really work to the point where it's like totally shifted, whatever it is. And yeah, and also the intensity of whatever it is we're working with has some part of the things I just described. But yeah, basically, it's not a matter of my experiences that I'm very passionate about it, in the sense that I think there are people out there who have PTSD for decades, right? I mean, I don't know in India, but I know in the US, there are people here who have PTSD for 1, 2, 3 decades, war veterans and things like this. And they don't know that you don't have to accept this as part of your reality for decades. You know, the time frame I work on is more hours, days, and weeks, not so much maybe months for like really extreme cases, but like not so much for healing something like this, years, you know? So I think that it's really powerful. There's a lot of powerful tools out there, and I think it's really great that you have this show to introduce people to them. So
Yes,
yeah.
and with regards to infinite love healing, is it just the trauma and PTSD, or can it cover all areas of life, the finance, the health, and everything else?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So yeah, absolutely. We the title says trauma and PTSD, but also subconscious beliefs, which is where Access is really focused, is also a big area of focus, changing subconscious beliefs. In terms of finances, this can also work on all of this as well. I actually teach 3 levels of infinite love healing. Infinite love healing level 1, which is like an 8-hour, cram everything I could into 8 hours. That's like the best tools for healing and breath work, and something called the 9 master release, sustain, alignment. So, as well as trauma healing. So the way I work is a little bit different from some other like teachers, especially like abundance teachers like this, in the sense that I start with people by saying, okay, how can we keep you in a state of flow in your life? And even before money, because people love to start with money, and money's great. You know, obviously, if you don't have money, then that creates limitation. But I also, in my life, had the most money I've ever had in my whole life was actually at my health low. and in fact, when my early 20s, actually, I had quite a lot of money. So money can give you things and can buy great circumstances for you to do things for yourself that will create happiness, but money by itself does not buy happiness. So where I started off with people is, let's get into a space of deep trust. And what I came up with was something called the 9 master beliefs to stay in alignment, which is the 9 beliefs I've seen that if you have those beliefs down in any given moment, you will be in alignment with the moment. You'll be grateful. And if you don't, you're probably not going to be in alignment, or if you are, it's going to fall away very quickly because something's going to come up. So I work in like establishing trust, love, letting go of our fears, letting go of all these other things. And then once you have that down, finding your soul purpose, finding a sense of deeper purpose. Then once you have that down, you can like dissect all the beliefs around money and all this that I know a lot of these teachers do. And that's great. But my philosophy is to actually first get people like in alignment from an internal place of abundance. And then after that, go and dive more into like the finances and things like that. So it's just a slightly different approach I've seen to other teachers.
Yeah, everything that you're discussing is so amazing. I wish the connection was a little better, but we are still having, so the problem is he is in Guatemala, and this is the best internet connection that we can get from there. So hopefully when you come out of that place to a better internet connection, maybe we'll do another interview. But still, I think at this time, audio is okay. So hopefully viewers can still listen to you. But anyways, let's quickly move on to the healing or the breath work that you have for us. And
yeah. So I was telling you before we started the formal interview that so this is not going to be like a deep trauma healing. I was considering doing that, but we were going to consolidate this answer last. So if you do have something like PTSD or trauma you want to heal, then you can either take the 1-day level 1, which will also include, this is one of quite a number of different techniques. I teach something called the Jedi breathing sequence in that class as well, which is a breathwork sequence. And this is one of those breaths. So, or you can also, of course, contact me for a private session, which I do via distance as well. So the breathwork, I'm going to teach a breathwork technique, and this is something that was added on much later to Infinite Love Healing. So this breath is called double inhale breath. Okay. So I'm going to move back a little bit because you're going to be able to see more of me. So, okay. And can you sort of see, I'll move. Okay. So my hands, Vishnupriya, if you want to join me here, just come to a comfortable sitting position and have your hands down on top of your knees, the palms facing upwards. Okay. And this is called double inhale breath. So this is a great breath to do early in the day, and you'll see why after we do it. I'm doing it right now at 11 something at night, so it might keep me up a little bit. That's cool. I'm happy to do it to teach all of you guys. So we're gonna take one breath, and we're gonna inhale, and we're gonna bring the hands up to the shoulders, and then we're gonna take a second inhale directly after, and we flow the hands right up to the crown, right about here. So it's double inhale, and then the exhale is like through the mouth, and it's like a dart, right? Like straight out, like imagine you're blowing a birthday cake out somewhere in front of you, right? Okay, so I say that with some caution because I said that in a class once here in Guatemala, and some women started to go the whole way down. So you don't need to do the whole head bob thing, but just like you're trying to blow something out or darting some air out. So you're gonna have this naturally flowy motion, and you're gonna go inhale, and as you inhale, you bring the arms up You get the air all the way down to the lower stomach. So it's a deep breath and it's a strong breath, but it's a soft motion. The motion is very soft and flowy. I'm not like holding a lot of shoulder tension or anything. So inhale, so it's inhale, rise the hands to the shoulder. Second inhale, rise the hands to the crown of the head. And then exhale through an O-shaped mouth. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna do 3 of these in a row. Then I'm gonna watch Vishnupriya do 3 in a row, as you guys can see how she's doing it. And then we'll do it all together. Anyone else who's watching this can do this. We'll do 108 in total. So we'll go like this. Cool. You got it? So 2 breaths in, 1 breath out. Breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, shoulders nice and relaxed, and hands up and down. Just take the second breath, just go up to the crown. If you're watching this, you don't need to go up here, just to the crown, okay? So we're gonna start slow, we'll slowly pick up the pace, and then at the end, we'll just have a minute or so in silence, just to see what's going on within ourselves. So we'll take our hands like this, the palms facing upwards, the shoulders back, and let's begin. Very good. Once you're in a rhythm, you can close your eyes. We'll start to speed up. 30 seconds more. Keep going. totally relaxed. Just observing what's going on in the body, observing what's going on in the mind, just being present with what is in the moment. Okay. So, how you doing, Vishnupriya?
Oh, wow. I couldn't do it as much as you have done it, but I was doing bits and pieces of it. Maybe I'm going to practice a little more. Wow, I have never done such a breath work before.
Cool. You enjoyed it? Yeah, you
Yes,
took a few breaks. You made it
yes,
to the end.
yes, I did. I did take lots of breaks in between, by the way, but I tried it. But I'm gonna try it again. But I really wish we had a better internet, because the video was stuck. All we could hear was your breath, sound of your breath. But I was following the sound of it.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, all right. Yes, that was a lot of stuff. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Okay. So now tell us a little bit about. You already mentioned that you're doing private one-on-one sessions, as well as you're also teaching this. And maybe once you have a little bit better internet connection, maybe you can as well record the breath work yourself doing on the screen, and maybe we can put that as well in the blog post that we share, so people can follow you and do it with you. I'm going to put the link of Adam below, so you can click on that and check the course if what he said is not clear to you. So what he does with Infinite Love Healing is there's this training course in which there is level 1, level 2, and level 3. And if you want to use and learn Infinite Love Healing and teach it, or use that for healing others, you can take all 3 levels. Or if you would like to use that for your own self-healing, you can do that for just you can take the level 1, which you can use it for self-healing. So that's one part of it. And the another part of it is he also does private one-on-one sessions, where if you're just looking to not learn it, rather just use it for healing yourself, you can do a one-on-one session with them. Hope that's what you mentioned, Adam.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mentioned that. And, for the one-on-one sessions, and also I can get better internet on my phone. For this, I wanted to be on a computer. It felt better to me. But yeah, and the internet on the phone, I can get a better quality of service, which I will do for normally for healing sessions. A lot of it is actually lying down with your eyes closed, so it's fine to do over the phone. Also, yeah, the level 1 course, if you're interested, that is like a lot of the best tools in breath work and trauma healing, the 9 master beliefs to stay in alignment. And it's a very unique course. It's something that was developed for many years, since the best stuff I found, studying dozens of different healing systems kind of combined into one 8-hour jam-packed course. So that's going to be coming up in, I believe, I don't want to say the wrong date, but I think it's May 22nd online. So if you're interested, that's going to be an amazing course. And I also am going to be plan course at some point, although I haven't scheduled a date yet, which is how I met Vishnupriya here. And yeah, so that's a chance to learn to do what Vishnupriya and I both do, which is give soul plan readings. So
Yes. So what he mentioned
which are
now,
readings.
yeah, I'm just reiterating that point. He's also a soul plan reader and a teacher. So he's teaching soul plan reading, which is a modality offered by Holistic Healing College in the UK. And he's doing online courses for that as well. So if you're interested in that, he also does one-on-one soul plan reading sessions. If that's something interests you, soul plan reading is one of the most important things that transformed my life, and it's about understanding. So even before we are born, we have kind of a soul plan that we come with, which has different energies, which shows us what our soul purpose is, what our challenges are, and what gifts and talents have we brought with us in this life. And if you are at a certain point where you're thinking about your career, for example, you do not know which way to go, and that's when soul plan reading really helps. So if that is something that interests you, you can contact Adam for that as well. Hopefully, we are gonna have a video of the breath work that he did separately in the blog post in the website zeropointhealing.com. So if that breath work really interests you, please come to the blog and you will find that very soon. We will add it there. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much for everything you shared. Wow, infinite love healing. I just loved it. Uh, the internet was the only issue, but we could still hear you. So let's see, maybe once again, we'll catch up at a later time and have more discussion about that. Thank you so much for everything you did, and the breath work was amazing.
Thank you for having me on the show. I love your I loved you as an interviewer. I really appreciate you bringing community together like this from all over the world. And yeah, Zero Point, give your website a plug. Zero Point Healing, check it out. It has a lot of great stuff on it. So yeah. And thank you for everybody watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, my dear viewers. I'm going to see you in the next show. If you liked it, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like it and share it and subscribe to it so that we can take this information and spread it as much as possible to everyone that this is going to help. Thank you so much, all of you, for your support. Thank you, Adam. I'm going to see you again later. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Vishnupriya. Namaste.
Namaste.